involved parties advising their window was possibly shot at. We're on scene with her now. We're just trying to figure out where the shots may have come from.
We have made an arrest in the I-10 shootings that occurred on August 29.
Never fired my gun on the I-10, on any freeway for that matter, in the city, no.
As we stand here today, there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Leslie Merritt is the I-10 shooter, that he ever has been or that he ever will be.
The I-10 freeway shootings is a phenomenon that Leslie Merritt is still going to have to live with for the rest of his life, no matter what a judge says.
Well, who could forget this? 5 years ago, the Valley was terrorized when a gunman was opening fire on cars on the I-10. 11 shootings in all. Unfortunately, no one was hurt. So DPS and investigators soon arrested Leslie Merritt Jr. for the crimes, but from the get-go, he maintained his innocence, claiming investigators had the wrong guy. The charges against him were eventually dismissed, and now a judge has officially cleared him. But his attorney, Jason Lamm, says what his client has gone through will stay with him forever. Jason Lamm joining us this morning. Jason, thank you for joining us. If my memory serves me right, the charges were dismissed quite a while back, and now a judge has cleared him. Why did it take so long for that to happen?
Well, Scott, first off, I can't believe we've been talking about this for 5 years. Still no evidence. In fact, now a judge has affirmatively come out and cleared Leslie's name, as you said. But the case was dismissed in late April of 2016. But it's a process to get to this point, to have a judge affirmatively clear someone's name. And last night, if viewers were watching, we heard from Rick Romley, the former Maricopa County attorney, my old boss. And he said that this is such a rare thing to happen, because in a criminal case, the state has to prove someone guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But in this forum, that's called a notation of clearance, a criminal defendant actually has the burden of proof of showing that they were wrongfully arrested or otherwise wrongfully charged. And a lot has happened since then, all of which has been in Leslie's favor, and all of which shows, again, you've heard me say this, that he's not the I-10 freeway shooter.
So you also say that the damage has already been done. He'll have to live with this the rest of his life. What do you mean by that? Do you think some people might always think he is the guy?
Well, Scott, I'm going to turn the tables on you because we've known each other for a long time. And I'm going to ask you, if I say to you, Richard Jewell, what's the first thing that comes into your mind, my friend?
Well, the Olympic bombing.
Exactly. So, while a court order is really significant, I think, to Leslie, the reality is you can't scrub the internet. There are so many articles out there. There are so many press conferences that DPS did that absolutely smeared Leslie. And I have to, say it because I can't ignore it. Then there was the tweet by Governor Ducey, "We got him." That doesn't get erased. So yesterday was really significant, but at the end of the day, it's a token and symbolic gesture, legally significant. But, this young man's going to have to live with this for the rest of his life.
So there's an ongoing civil suit, and there's a gag order on that, so you can't really talk about it. But yesterday's ruling is really important in terms of that, isn't it?
Well, they're separate and distinct cases. And you're right, Scott, there's a gag order. So I want to stay as far away from that as possible. I think that, again, Leslie was branded as a domestic terrorist. That was one of the charges he was arrested for in September of 2015. So, to Leslie, getting it out there, as he said at his initial appearance, we just saw a video a moment ago, when he got out of jail and he spoke to the media, he wants to clear his name. So perhaps that's the greater issue, that, this is a guy who was 21 years old, who was thrown into national media and accused of this high-profile crime, who always maintained his innocence. And most of all, he really just wants everybody to know that he didn't do it. He told me right away, and he told me earlier this morning when I spoke to him, because he lives with this still every day of his life. There's not a day he doesn't think about it. He still has nightmares. He's still paranoid that someone's going to kick his door in, because it already happened once for crimes he didn't commit.
So we're about out of time, Jason. Do you see, as far as the court case going, do you see this going on another year or two?
It's hard to say, Scott, and I'll wrap it real quick. We were supposed to go to trial in the civil case this past April in federal court, but then COVID came along. So our trial, like many others, are just pretty much sitting in a hold pattern until the logistics get worked out. But if it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, we're not going anywhere. We're behind Leslie 100%. That's not changing.
All right, Jason Lamm, thank you.
Always good, Scott. Take
You
care.
too.